All right. We're up to the third episode of our greatest hits montages of our first 20 episodes of Unlocking Moves. We've covered a lot in our first 20 episodes. We've covered bankruptcies, divorces, terminations. We've talked to people who've sold companies. We've had some great all-American success stories. We drank wine on air with Tori Brodsky. We hit up Kurtz to have Sir Richard Branson be one of our future guests. And we've feared for our lives with Lakita Clear. One theme that we've come across for the first 20 episodes is a theme that's consistent with pretty much every entrepreneur out there. And that is people, challenges, opportunities, successes with people. We all have team members that we love. We all have team members that we've outgrown. We all have team members that we think we can't live without. And frankly, we all have team members who, for being honest, just got to go. So this week, we're going to talk about people, your employees, your team members. We're going to look at them through the lens of my book, Who's Your Mic? Shameless plug since we're in the holiday season. First of all, Merry Christmas and Happy Hanukkah. Second of all, Who's Your Mic would make a great holiday gift or stocking stuffer. Go out to Amazon or Barnes & Noble or who'syourmic.com to get your copy of Who's Your Mic before supplies run out. In this first clip, we're going to talk to Adam Witty. And we asked him the character that resonates the most with him from Who's Your Mic. His response? Something we see pretty much every day, promoting your star salesperson to your sales leader or sales manager. It doesn't always work out. Let's hear what he has to say.
So Harry the Hustler, and this doesn't speak well of me, Kurt, but I have made the mistake not once, but twice. And I told myself a compelling story that the second time it would be different. And here's all the reasons why it would be different. And guess what? It was the same crappy outcome the second time as it was the first time. As tempting as it is to take your top salesperson and say, you know what? They're the best. They need to be the sales manager because they can teach every other rep what they know and how they do it. Disaster.
Wow. Adam had it happen multiple times, and we've seen it dozens, if not hundreds of times with companies we've worked with. As tempting as it is to promote your star performer into leader or manager, think twice before you do it. You don't want to end up with both a crappy sales leader or sales manager and having lost your star performer. Jennifer Hill took a different tact. She talked about the challenges of hiring the perceived badass, the silver bullet from outside of the organization. And silver bullet, that's exactly what most entrepreneurs are looking for. Someone to come in and save the day. Jennifer also had some interesting things to say about the book, but her favorite character, I'll let Jennifer take it from here.
Oh my goodness. I have to say, I love your book, and it honestly needs to be required reading for all entrepreneurs, frankly, for anyone that's in a position of hiring, regardless of the size of the company, because you've captured these different archetypes of personalities in terms of the way that they interact at work really well. So it's really difficult just to pick one, but I have to say the one that has stood out, particularly for this last part of my journey over the last decade, is Resume Ralph. For a couple of reasons. I mean, one, at a healthcare analytics company, we had no shortage of people that were at ginormous organizations coming to us and wanting to work for us. And we absolutely had to go through a lot of these questions and self-evaluation that you mentioned in that section about someone having this incredible resume and this heft. Does it translate to rolling your sleeves up? You know, we're a place where we literally are still making the coffee every day. We're washing our own dishes. You know, we're doing incredible stuff with data and reverse engineering, you know, challenges in the healthcare field. But it's a very humble and very hardworking group. And it can be a transition for folks that are used to having a team for absolutely everything, you know, throwing data over the fence and getting it back as opposed to having to pull it yourself. So it can be an adjustment. And that was what we had to really sniff out during the interview process.
I love your book. It should be required reading. Can we just stop there? Thanks a lot, Jennifer. I also love what she says about Resume Ralph. She needs the skill set, the experience, the resume that Ralph provides, but she also needs grit, that entrepreneurial spirit, roll up your sleeves, get shit done. She doesn't need someone in an ivory tower. She needs someone down getting their hands dirty. Next, let's hear from Rod Kurtz. Rod was not only my very first guest on Unlocking Moves, he was also my partner in crime in writing Who's Your Mic. He was an editor at Inc. magazine for many years and has worked with and written about thousands of entrepreneurs. He knows his stuff when it comes to people who work with entrepreneurial companies.
I feel duty bound to point out I'm in the book. So can I be my own favorite character?
There you go. Perfect.
Yeah.
HR Rhoda.
Yeah. I guess the question is, are we talking about the cartoons or the characters themselves? I think for the cartoons, which is a real fun part of the book, if you haven't picked it up yet, I got to go with Harry the Hustler. He looks like half the guys I see in LA with the double finger guns and the ridiculous sports car. The thing that I think is cool about the book is that, all the characters have merits. I think even though the solution and how to deal with each of them is a little different and what they bring to the table is a little different, that they all serve a purpose over time at the different growth stages of your business. And there's really no one in there that you're outright like, let's get rid of them. They have no value here. I like Right Hand Rita. I like Side Hustle Sam. He might be the next Richard Branson, with a little nurturing. I think, especially for the purposes of this conversation, kicking things off, I got to go with Mike because he is so universal. I've been doing this for over 20 years at this point, the first 10 as a journalist covering entrepreneurs and the past 10, as an advisor to entrepreneurs. I don't know anyone who hasn't had a Mike. And I think that's why, he's the title, why you let off with him. It's so universal. In your case, it was sort of a college buddy, but everyone has employee number one. And the thing I respect about Mike is that he's the guy who's going to break his back for you. He may not be the best at every role, especially as the company matures, but everyone's got that employee number one. And I think that work ethic, that loyalty, that's something that you can't really teach. And even if the role outgrows him, I think he's someone you always want to have on board. But I think the message to our audience here is, and this isn't a shameless plug, pick up the book, read that first chapter about Mike, and I guarantee it's going to resonate with you. And I think from there, all the other characters, even if you haven't encountered them just yet in your journey, chances are you're going to.
I love what Rod says. Everyone has a Mike. We've seen that theme consistently over the last 30 years we've been working with entrepreneurial companies. Every entrepreneur either has a Mike, has had, or will have a Mike. The question is, who's your Mike? Catchy title, right? And that's a perfect segue to Tyler Allgaier. Tyler has built an amazing business from scratch over the last 4 years, and he has definitely seen a lot of these characters. So I asked him which characters resonate the most with him from Who's Your Mic?
This is not just another business book. Like, you can find heaven knows how many tens of thousands of those out there. The no bullshit guide is so spot on. The characters in there, I've seen every single one of them in my short tenure as an entrepreneur. I can't say I like any of them more because they all have their pros and cons, but it resonates so well with what I've seen. Therapy, I talk to my therapist about this, and then I read it in a book. So I'm wondering if you're secretly spying on my therapy sessions. But Resume Ralph, I've seen. Bounce Around Betty, I've seen. Harry the Hustler, I've seen. The Mike, I've seen. So to the listeners, like, you need to read this book because, like I said, I'm a huge proponent of therapy. Part of that is just getting your thoughts out there, but also in some instances, getting other people's feedback. If you have any of these, or even if you have none, I guarantee at some point you will have one, if not all of them. This is therapy in of itself because now you're hearing from Kurt and you can take his experience from other people. It's therapy in of that sense. Let Kurt talk to you through the words in the book.
I love that. Have you secretly been spying on my therapy sessions? And I love how Tyler also said reading the book was therapy in and of itself. And that's one of the reasons I wrote the book. Learn from the stories of others. So listen to their stories, imagine your own situation, and then make your own decision. In this next clip, I asked Tori Brodsky which characters resonate the most with her. And as you've seen, most of my guests gave me an employee that they saw in the book. Maybe Harry the Hustler or B-Player Bob. But Tori, she gave me a different response. She compared herself to one of the characters from the book.
I'll be honest with you, Kurt. When I started reading it, Who's Your Mic, right? The first thing that I actually kind of thought that kind of scared me was, am I my own mic? Am I the one who's going to not be able to move up to the next level with this company? And, you know, I think we briefly spoke about this before, but you do mention, you know, that in that case, that might be the case for you, right? And if so, there are solutions to deal with that. But I would say that the bookkeeper turned CFO, I think that's the first one that we talk about, right?
So the one that resonates most with you is actually Mike himself.
Yeah, which is a little bit scary because when I was reading it, I was like, you know, going through all of the leadership and the managerial skills that this person needed to have, that all of a sudden it's so funny because it's like, why does this person seem to be able to handle so much? And then when things seem to supposedly get easier, where the company has more resources, there's more people around to help, why does it seem like that person can't handle it? And that resonated a lot with me. And to be honest with you, it was a little bit scary.
I love that Tori is self-aware enough to know that she might be her own Mike. Maybe she's not the one to take the company to the next level. However, I would tell her that all is not lost. Maybe hire a coach. Maybe it's a key executive position on your team, somebody who has done this before, so you don't have to learn the lessons the hard way. You can do this, Tori. And on that note, we're going to wrap this puppy up. Please go like and subscribe on YouTube or wherever you consume your podcast. And please go give us a 5-star review, like right now. And if you think you've got a resume Ralph or a Harry the Hustler or a Mike, go check out our quiz at who'syourmic.com/quiz. That's who'syourmic.com/quiz.